All right. So there are some basic ground rules and requirements for the team. Okay. Before even moving forward with any work. Okay. They have to establish some ground rules. What are these rules? Okay. Effective rules and clear communication will enhance the team collaboration and project success. Everybody knows this. Okay. Let's pen down some rules, do's and don'ts, document rules. Maintain basic rules in writing and ensuring all the team members approve them. That is why signing of the project charter is very important. Okay, whatever that you're doing, the data collections or whatever observations that you're making, make sure that you script it and document it properly. Okay, and do not ignore team rules. Okay, and black belt team leaders provides these rules. Okay, what are the confidentiality of it? They also take attendance is compulsory, because every project review meeting I take attendance, and this is something that I've observed quite often, that initially all the members and stakeholders are present who are supposed to be present, and gradually in week 2, week 3, week 4 and month 1, month 2, the attendance slows down and they lack interest in the project. Okay, it's not, you should be aware about this and not allow it to happen. How many of you can relate to this? Type ICR in the chat box. Meeting consistency. Flexibility is also needed. Suppose if there is some urgent customer audit, some other priority work, some machine erections, etc., some sort of flexibility in meetings is required. And then, so black belt may suggest the participation tips and manage the agenda creation. Okay, delegate the roles. There is a time creeper, there is a secretary, scribe, and all that we had spoken in the team member roles. Okay. All right. Now, this is some questions that I wanted to ask. Okay. Why is it important? There are 3 questions that I have. Okay. Why is it important for Six Sigma team to document and approve project ground rules? Okay. To ensure that all the meetings are scheduled on the same day each week, to prevent the single team member from claiming ignorance of the rules later, to include the rules in the official project charter, to make the rule generation process completely democratic. Okay. So what is the correct answer? Okay, B is the correct answer. Stay corrected so that nobody is saying that, oh, I'm not aware about the rules. Okay. Nobody claims that, oh, I'm not aware about the rules. Okay. All right. Okay, there's only one question in this. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now we will step into defined tool sets. Okay, all of you type DTS in the chat box. We'll get into defined tool set. Fantastic. Okay, the stakeholder analysis is one tool. The in and out of box method is another, and is or is not matrix. So these are the 3 things that we'll go little deeper into. Okay. Now, some people will have low power in the organization or authority. The other people will have high power and high authority. Some people will have low interest and other people will have high interest. So low, let us keep it at the extreme left, okay, where there is a y and x intersects, and then high we will go to extreme x-axis and extreme y-axis. Okay, now there are 4 quadrants here. Okay, people who have high power and high interest, okay, promoters, they are called as promoters. Okay, all of you type promoters in the chat box. So you need to manage them closely. Okay, and people who have high interest but low power, you have to keep them informed. They are called defenders. Just take notes. Okay, all of you type defenders in the chat box. You need to keep defenders informed. Okay, People who have high power but low interest, they are called latents. Keep them satisfied. And people who have low power, low interest, just monitor, which is minimal effort. Okay. All right. So we will. These are all the different types of stakeholders. Okay. Now, this is called stakeholder analysis grid. Okay, stakeholder analysis grid. So the axis, vertical axis is power and the horizontal axis is interest that I explained. The quadrants are top left. Okay, keep satisfied. They are characterized by high power and low interest. High power and low interest. Okay, and action is ensure satisfaction and occasional consultant. This is just some pointers for you to take care of the stakeholders. Okay, and bottom left is called minimal effort. The characteristic are low power and low interest, and action is minimal engagement. Keep them generally updated about things. The bottom right, if you see, you just keep them informed. They have low power but high interest. Okay, action is regular updates involve specific aspects, and top right is a key player. They have high power and high interest, regular reporting and key resource allocation from them. Okay, so this is just to give you the overview of this, how to take care of different stakeholders. If you found this interesting, useful, valuable, fantastic, awesome, put it in the chat box. Okay, so that this is just a pointer for you to know. As a Six Sigma expert, you need to know how to take care of different stakeholders. This particular stakeholder grid is not explained in many sessions or books, but this is very important for you to record this and be aware about this. All right. And stakeholder analysis grid made the steps is just to use a whiteboard or a flip chart. Okay, you can use sticky notes to list all the potential stakeholders and stick them in that 4 grids. Okay, based on the power and interest, you can place that sticky notes and their positions and names or whatever in the sticky notes and get. And then, so tailor your communication to all the stakeholders based on where they are located in the grid. Okay, so moving stakeholders to higher interest can boost the project support. Once you identify the people who are of low interest, okay, it's always better to find out way by which you can move them to a higher interest by communicating to them, explaining the benefits, how it will help them, what is in it for me, explain to them how it can help them, etc. Okay. Now, the question is, in the stakeholder analysis, what does the vertical axis represent? Very easy question, right? Before even typing the answer choices, you can. Okay, all of you are very clear about this. The amount of interest. Now, so it is this C, right? Okay. The correct answer is amount of power that a person is. Where would you place a stakeholder who has got high power but low interest in a project on a stakeholder analysis grid? Where do you place them? A person who has got high power but low interest. Top left, bottom left, top right, bottom right. All right, top left. Okay, which stakeholders fall into keep informed category in a stakeholder analysis? This is something difficult to recall, right? Which stakeholders fall into keep informed category? If you have taken notes, you will answer this question. Stakeholders with high power and high interest, low power, low interest, high power, low interest, and low power, high interest. Low power and high interest. Okay, low power and high interest. Okay. Okay, now we will get into in and out of the box method. You may not find it in Google also. Okay, we use it on certain occasions if it is relevant to you. Okay, in and out of the box method, the purpose is to clarify the scope and manage the scope creep effectively. Okay, I will ask a question later. Okay, which method best suits for clarifying the scope and manage the scope creep effectively? You can put this in box out method. Okay, steps in defining the scope. So we draw a large box. Okay, and use a whiteboard or a flip chart. Okay, draw a large box. You can use a whiteboard and brainstorm the elements. Okay, like what are the resources you need, what are the activities, what are the people on a sticky note. Okay, after that, place the sticky note on the wall or a table. Okay, okay, avoid discussion during brainstorming for broader idea picture. Okay, now categorize the item like this: inside the box. Okay, in scope, the elements the team can influence. What are the elements that the team can influence? Okay, on the line is uncertain, needs further permission or assistance, and out of the box is out of scope, which is beyond team control or not included. Okay, if this is clear, type SC, super clear, in the chat box. Now, review and document. In review and document, what you have to do is you have to review the placement and make the adjustment if it is needed, so that we are very clear about what is inside the box, outside the box, and on the line, so that we can clarify those elements. Okay, now the question is very simple: what does placing the item on the line in the in and out box method signify? The item on the line is what? Out of scope, or the team can influence it, or it requires further discussions or permissions, and the item is relevant to the project. Okay, the correct answer is C, the status. Okay, fine. Now let us get into the is or is not matrix for 5 minutes before we conclude this session. So please give me another 5 minutes. The purpose is define the scope and project and process scope. That is the purpose of this, and clarify necessary information for problem statement. How it works is list the specific assets of the process or project, and define what is and what is not. I'll give you an example so that you will be clear. Is what the project or process includes. Okay, and is not is what the project or process. These are all different tools. Okay, for example, if the Six Sigma team is tasked with determining why furnaces in certain factory are not heating to proper temperatures, they might create is and is not matrix, something like this. Okay, this is just an example for indication. For example, where south plant and not in the north or east plant. Okay, what steam furnaces and not the wood furnaces, and when January 2015 and not prior to January 2015, so that. All right, so one question on is and is not matrix is: what is the primary purpose of is and is not matrix? To allocate financial resources, to establish the timeline for the project phases, to help define scope and clarify specific elements, or to identify the key stakeholders and their roles. So what is the correct answer? To help define the scope and clarify this thing. Excellent. Okay, so the define tollgate checklist is something that we will wrap up with. Okay, deliverables for successful this thing is comprehensive project statement, team charter, process understanding and diagram map, and voice of the customer, and agreed definition of success. All right, and the purpose is to ensure all key elements are in place before moving forward.